Welcome back, Kuma Crew. It's once more your favourite friendly despair bear Annakuma, and we are here with a review of an adventure game that is just an adventure game I'm reviewing. Yes, we're here to talk about Robust Games' murder mystery on a Twain game, Locomotive. Fantastic name for a fantastic game. Released November 21st of last year, I was super excited to play this game after originally playing the demo what feels like years ago. So I should probably explain that whilst I don't have a demo review of this game, as I played the demo before I had the idea, plus the demo for Locomotive was always only ever really out for limited release during Next Fests, the demo for Locomotive was so good, it kind of started the ball rolling for me to eventually come up with my demo series. Honestly, the demo for this game was so good when I played it that I always wanted to do something about demos, and it ended up becoming the demo review series. That being said, I didn't review this demo, so this was just an interesting fact, so let us get on with the story overview for the game. Let me just start by saying, Locomotive is an absolute masterpiece. Sure, you can now switch off this video knowing that I'm just going to tell you why I think it's a masterpiece, or you can stay and find out exactly why I'm saying this, right? Right? The game is split into chapters. Each chapter has its own unique hook to it as well. For a start, the first few chapters will see you play as one of each of the main characters, Arthur Ackerman, Herman Merman,
Herman Merman? Is it really you?
and Diana Ostenhagen. Each will get to tell their story of what happened on the Rus Express based on their experience.
Indulge us.
Well, it all got a bit complicated.
But what story are they telling, you might ask? Well, it is the death of Lady Unterwald. That is the story.
Heavens above!
No!
See, most people you'll meet are on board the train to find out who Lady Unterwald is leaving her empire to. For you see, this train is actually owned by Lady Unterwald herself, and most of the cast are relatives or interested parties. Arthur is her estate lawyer, who is on board to help with the will reading, but loses the latest copy and has to go find it after he witnesses her death. Herman is a failing novelist turned detective on his first case for the lady, following one of the potential buyers of the company.
Herman Merman, we meet at last. Welcome aboard the Royce Express.
And then you have poor Diana, who is from Inland Revenue Secret Service, and basically doesn't really get her own chapter because her job is done for her by Arthur in his chapter.
I found Bergman's ledger hidden in a drawer.
Is that so? Let me have a look. If Bergman was really falsifying these records, this could be exactly the evidence we've been looking for.
All of this is told in flashbacks, as the three of them are detained and questioned by the police. The game will freeze at times so that the detectives can question the trio about certain moments in depth, which really gives the game a great atmosphere throughout the beginning chapters.
It's hard to say. I was busy weighing up my options, considering my next moves.
After they've all told their individual stories, they come together at the end of the game to solve the mystery of Lady Unterwald's death, or at least to stop her horrid family from getting their hands on her company. Now, whilst I probably will accidentally spoil something along the way, I won't get into the rest of the game's story because this is a review, and I try not to spoil the end of game so that you can still go out there and enjoy Locomotive yourself if you want to. In the end, Locomotive took me 11 hours over 3 sittings on stream to complete. The chapters tend to get shorter the longer you play, but it is a really well designed game that flows really well both with the story and the puzzles they introduce. Plus, Locomotive, story-wise, is top-tier storytelling. Who killed Lady Unterwald is never really your top priority. On the train, the only person who really wants to know who killed her is her doctor.
How are you holding up, Doc? Doctor?
I really thought Herman would be able to help us.
I think he's too distraught to talk right now.
Everyone else is obsessed with who gets to own the company now she's passed on. Even in the finale, finding the true will and foiling people's plans to take over is much more important than who actually killed her in the first place. Now, you might wonder why I call this game a masterpiece if it is a murder mystery that doesn't really care about the mystery of the murder. Quite simply because the bundling of Arthur and Herman is just fantastic. They are both on their own mission, technically so is Diana, but they just endear themselves to you as they fall, sometimes quite literally, into the answers they never knew they needed. I don't even think it matters that the death takes a backseat to everything else, because the characters in their own personal quest are so fun, and you know eventually the stars will just align for them to tell you who done it. To be fair, the characters are also the best part of the game. Arthur is a goofy nerd.
I'm an accountant. I'm in accounting.
Wow, talk about a dream job. I've always wanted to perform account analysis.
Herman is loud and dramatic whiner.
Herman, you check out the basement.
I get the murder basement? Are you trying to get me killed?
We can use the pneumatic tube system to send each other any clues we find.
That's definitely more refined than the prison tube system.
Okay, move out.
I get the murder basement? Plus, Diana is a cool, badass secret agent.
There's the train!
Can you get us any closer?
I'll try. Damn it! This is as fast as we can go!
Then you have the side characters that run from stereotypical evil villains like Arista Gudrun, Lady Untervold's sister, and her twin sons Gunther and Hagen, who act as her dim-witted underlings. We have the lovable gangster rogue Donnie, who lives in that grey area of being the bad guy, but sometimes he turns ally that you end up kinda liking him regardless of what he does. We have a secret society, this drunk guy, a great bartender who refuses to serve Arthur alcohol because apparently we look underage, a really sassy little kid, a weird band that ends up getting me to accidentally stab myself in the hand. There's so much depth to the cast, and you'll find yourself loving everyone you meet, especially Agent M. Herman was by far my personal favourite of the main protagonist. I loved his over-the-top whining about everything. Not a single line wasn't performed as dramatically as he could deliver it, and he ended up having a fan on board the train in Dr. Hirsch. Dr. Hirsch is the only person who cares about who killed Lady Untervold. He truly believes that Herman Merman could solve the case, and he even gives Herman ideas for new books with a dashing doctor in every single one. The Doctor, for some reason, ended up being my second favourite character, and I'm not sure if it doesn't have a lot to do with when you talk to him after the lady's death, and he genuinely sounded so heartbroken that it made me hurt for him. Not only this, but Locomotive does that one thing I talk about time and time again that I love. It makes the train feel lived in. Not only are the interested parties in Lady Untervold's affair on board the train, but you also just have normal passengers. Like this guy here is an accountant who just wants to get drunk. Then you've got these people in the casino who are just going about and playing their gambling stuff. Then there's the band playing as well, but I've already kind of mentioned them. When on board the Rouse Express, you even get to eavesdrop on random conversations until the person either tells you to stop.
Excuse me, this is a private conversation.
Sorry.
Or they start repeating themselves. As I have said, or will say depending on when I bring this review out, time and time again, filling up your world with little things like this just makes the game feel like it is a world and isn't just some screens you have to get through. I loved listening to the gossip, annoying passages that had no interest in the story being told, just as much as I loved getting my hands into the mystery and fiddling around to figure it out. One of the most annoying parts of this review is that the game has such a great gameplay mechanic that I don't want to spoil, but let me tell you this guy here possibly has the best puzzle. I can't tell you why, but he does, so play the game and find out why. Locomotive is an extremely solid adventure game though, just overall. Whilst the basic mechanics are just run-of-the-mill, they work super well. The way the story works gives it an exciting twist or two, but overall it'll be a pleasant bunch of puzzles for you to solve. Each of the three characters gets their own uniquely coloured inventory, which I liked, following the colour schemes and also giving it their own little flair. Only Arthur's infantry ever gets a little on the crowded side, but I feel it's a decent infantry that even when cluttered, it's easy enough to navigate through. Hotspots can be a little on the hidden side. There is a button for the hotspots to show, which I had to use a few times, as I'd flown right over where I needed to click and missed something. I also really like that the hotspot detector actually is proximity based, so walking around the screen will show different hotspots further away. Without them, I feel it could be a little on the pixel hunty side, and as someone who only ever uses it as a last solution, it was nice to have it in the 1 or 2 rooms where I missed something a few times. You could obviously tell the love the writers had for LucasArts. A few of the puzzles felt like small nods to the games. Again, there is one I was super excited to talk about, but have decided not to mention it in the review for fans who want to find them out on their own. With that in mind, no puzzle is too difficult. It is pretty self-explanatory most of the time, and often if you hit a dead end, it's because you just need to run back through the train to pick up an item that has suddenly become relevant that you forgot about beforehand. I also like the nod to the old hotlines. In-game during every puzzle, you'll have a phone, and if you get stuck, you can phone up and get a hint. Now, I don't know how it works, because whilst I picked up the phone a few times, I never actually asked for a hint, but the bartender also gives a few pointers that once or twice helped me figure out what I needed to do.
A bartender is always happy to lend a sympathetic ear. What's troubling you?
So I said you'd be running up and down a train, and the movement in the game makes it very easy. While screens are fluid and you will have to run across a scrolling screen to get to exits, you can actually run. If you hold down the left button after double clicking, the character will continue to run towards the cursor. And if you do it well enough, it can then just directly take them to the next screen without having to let go. Whilst the train can feel huge to navigate, it never actually ends up feeling like too much. Going back to the LucasArts comparison too, this game genuinely even looks like a LucasArts game. I had one person even think it was a classic game when they walked in and was shocked to hear it was a new one. It keeps that beautiful old style look, but it does have its own unique charm. I did like how some of the close-up shots they did genuinely looked and felt like Day of the Tentacle. I would not be surprised if someone doing the art was a huge fan of that game, because it often gave me tentacle vibes. Which might not be the best way to phrase that, but I said what I said so it stays. But I also love the more modern animations they gave the characters. There were a few times when Arthur especially would stick something in his inventory and the little flair around his actions was just beautiful. Not only that, but to remind you that you are indeed on a train. The screen has you in the train, but will always have the wheels below you and the sky above you in vision. It was a small addition I was a huge fan of. Plus, on top of all this, if you want to play the game in a more noir setting, you can. If I ever replay this game, and I feel I probably will, even on stream, I will play it in full noir mode. As it was, I feel the first time playing is deserving of full color. There are some great moments, and I don't think I'll lose anything with it being noir, but I just loved how bright it was. That being said, Locomotive is a beautiful game with a super fun story and some fantastic puzzles. I couldn't gush about it more if I wanted to, because man do I want to. I thought it was inventive enough with the way it told its story, how it handled 3 main characters, and with making sure the game was accessible to the largest possible amount of players. It showed that games could make very obvious nods to games that came before it, or take great inspiration from them and yet still feel unique and new. It was like playing a 90s point-and-click game, but it comes out in 2024 instead. For fans of the genre, it is a must-play. For people getting into the genre, it would be a great foot in the door and might even inspire an interest in the classics. Honestly, this game is worth every second of your time. I loved it. I don't know if you could tell that or not. But that is enough of me gushing about Locomotive. Links to the game page will be in the description, so give it some love. I never mentioned, but it is fully voice acted too, and the acting was top notch. I promise you'll fall in love with it. Promise, 100% guaranteed. If you want to fall in love with this bear more than you obviously already do, then please feel free to give this video a like, comment on how much you like Twains, and subscribe. Also follow me over on twitch.tv/Annakuma with 2 A's at the end for more hot bear action coming your way 5 days a week as I play all sorts of games. Till next time though, thank you for watching as always, and bye-bye.